What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. This is Chu here for another rendition of our Travel Tip Tuesday. Today I'll be talking all about traveling during off-season. So stay tuned because there's going to be major gems for why and how you can do this. So wouldn't you want to fly for cheaper, get to cheaper destinations, eat cheaper, get a local feel, as well as have nobody in your pictures? It's a no-brainer, right? You want to travel during the off-season as well. So the main reason why I started traveling during the off-season is because the flights are so cheap. Usually the flights are the most expensive part of getting to a trip, but if you go during the off-season, you'll get it significantly cheaper. There's been times when I've been able to fly for half the price of what it typically is. For example, I flew from Cyprus in the Mediterranean to Jordan for $5. Yo, I'm not gassing this. I flew for $5. Now, this wouldn't be possible during peak season. So during non-peak season or the off-season, there aren't a lot of people there. So what that means are these hotels, Airbnbs, hostels are not packed. For a lot of these places, they're scrounging to try to find guests. Also, when you are on a budget, but you still want to travel nice, you can get significantly cheaper prices on these 5-4-star hotels. Not for me, but you can do it. So you can use that for your advantage and get these hotels for significantly cheaper prices. Or, I've been places where I stay in hostels and I got hostel rooms, 8-bedroom dorms by myself. Thirdly, a lot of times, these destinations will even be cheaper. So going into these different places, they're going to be cheaper to get to, so you get to see these places for discounted rates. Peak season versus non-peak season, prices vary. Not only the flights, the hotels, the destinations increase in price, also the food is increased during the peak season. So going during the off-season, a lot of places, especially in the high traffic areas, are going to increase their prices during these peak seasons. So if you go during the off-season where there's not a lot of peak traffic, you can eat for cheaper. Now, the greatest part for me going during the off-season is less tourist. Now, if you travel how I want to travel, it's trying to be at a destination by yourself. Not only is it great for pictures, but you get a great feel and get to spend as much time at a destination as you want. And that's one of the main benefits of why I solo travel. I remember a couple years ago, for my birthday, I went to Paris, which is in the winter time. And I went to the Louvre. Now, if you don't know the Louvre is the #1 most visited museum in the world. It is where the Mona Lisa is. And I'm gonna show you this picture. I was at the Louvre by myself. Literally by myself, because I'm there in the winter. Do you know how many people walk through the Louvre a day? I don't know, but I'm gonna Google it and put it right here. At these major attractions, there's swarms of tourists. And along that same thread, less tourists means there's gonna be more locals around. The locals don't want to be around the tourists, which is great. I love meeting people that are from there and getting their perspective when I travel. Also, a lot of these tours that are done are not going to have as many people. So you can have a real intimate conversation and get a real intimate perspective from your tour guide. If it's a small group in a tour, the tour guide typically works a little harder because he doesn't have a lot of other people to get those tips from. Then they'll give you a little bit more than they typically would in a group tour. Especially if you go to these museums, temples, monuments, religious sites, you don't want to be there with all these tourists. Also, on many occasions, there are long lines to get into these places. For a lot of destinations, you have to book days out in advance. And especially if you're a sporadic traveler, you don't really have an idea of what you're going to be doing. And you can't do those during peak season. One time in Egypt, during the off-season, 2 locals were very surprised to see us. They said they haven't had tourism here for a long time. So they gave us a personalized tour, walked with us through their city, showed us their house and things. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on this. I'm gonna do a story time. But I wouldn't have had this experience without it being off-season. Also, when you go to these markets and you want to bargain, if there's nobody there, you have the upper hand to bargain. They don't have nobody else to ask. You walk away and you go to a different shop. You are the prize when you're in the off-season. They want your money. You're the tourist. Now, a big issue with traveling during the off-season is you have to look out for specific events. I remember last year, I went to Zambia and I wanted to swim in Devil's Pool, but I didn't look up nothing because I didn't research. I thought I'm going during the off season or the rainy season, I'll just be able to swim up there. I got there and I realized you can't see anything because it's filled with water. You have to go during dry season. So guess what? I gotta go back to Zambia. I'm cool with it, but if I would have done my research on during the off season versus the dry season, I would have been able to make a more informed decision. Also, flying to the Caribbean during the off season typically means hurricane season. So I just want you to be aware of that, because me personally, I don't know if I want to be in a hurricane. But if you do your research beforehand, and especially being non-peak season, you have an idea of what's coming up and you can book last minute fares for cheap. Now it's a little funny because technically everything is off season. It's COVID, so not too many people are traveling, so you can get cheap flights regardless. But traveling in the off season gives you a ton of different options to save money in many different ways. So if you're ever on the fence, let me tell you, please book that ticket, travel during off season, save you some money, and get a local feel, and enjoy your time. Once again, thank you for watching my Travel Tip Tuesday. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leaving me any comments. Share this with somebody that could benefit from it. Thank you so much, and I'm out.